Hi there, welcome to the channel and welcome back if you're a return viewer. I'm Kerry and you're watching the Christchurch Review of Books YouTube channel. Okay, today this is the first video I have produced for the channel in 2024. Almost said 2014. The old brain's getting harder to get my head around these dates as I get older. It seems like I remember when 1987 was the height of modernity, so there we go. Now anyway, it's been almost 3 weeks since I did a video on this channel. We've had the Christmas New Year break, which was nice. Relaxed and recovered somewhat. And then I started a new job about a week and a half ago, and that's basically been full-time training so far, and enjoying the social side of things of that job so far. It's basically been one big Teams video call all day basically, and a lot of little units and slideshows to go through. As for the nature of the job itself, I am going to be connected to a certain major airline doing like customer service type roles. I can't really say too much about it yet. I haven't actually done the actual assigned task really. I'm still learning all about it. But anyway, it keeps me occupied during the day, and as a result my ability to do videos like this has kind of reduced, and my ability to read a lot has been reduced. Hopefully I'll work out a new routine. The way I had things going was quite well set out. My time was all divided up into doing different tasks, and that's all gone out the window now I've had the job started. So anyway, now I did tell you that I was reading Hyperion, the Hyperion Omnibus last time I made a video like this. I have now finished the much vaunted Hyperion, the book from the late 80s, which was recommended for about the last 30 years on every online channel you can imagine, and everyone's mad about Hyperion, and it seems to be having a bit of a renaissance again. Well, that's judging by what I see on things like Reddit. Everyone's into Hyperion again and recommending Hyperion again, so I buckled in and actually read it, and I bought it in this last year in this omnibus edition. So it includes Hyperion and the Fall of Hyperion, the direct sequel. And having read Hyperion now, I was impressed by parts of it, and I really enjoyed it. My thoughts about it are all over the place because it really isn't a complete story. It's a long setup with chapters which are almost like little novels of their own, and basically nothing is really resolved in the first book. So the Fall of Hyperion in the same volume probably clears things up a little bit more, and I have basically decided not to film a review of Hyperion just by itself. I'll wait until I finished the Fall of Hyperion, and then I'll review this entire book. No idea when that will take me to. A couple of weeks away at least, probably. Anyway, today, as like a palate cleanser between the two parts of Hyperion, I decided to read another book, and the one I chose was this book, an ebook on the Kindle, Extremely Online by Taylor Lorenz. Been hearing about this book a little bit on and off the last year. The author Taylor Lorenz was on like podcasts and radio programs and what have you promoting this book, and I started following her on social media. She's got a YouTube channel. She is a journalist who basically focuses on online culture, online developments, and she comes from a background of being a blogger who basically upgraded to being part of the mainstream media, and now she writes for all sorts of publications, mainstream ones and online ones, and she's pretty good. She's good with her sources, and she knows what she's talking about most of the time, I find. Something in this book did make a little niggle in my mind about her reporting, but yeah. Anyway, now this book, Extremely Online, title reminds me of something from the 90s where everything was extreme with a lot of X's at the end or something. This book covers the period between the late 90s, the instigation of organised blogging, up until very recently the birth of TikTok and so on. The entire period of 25 years or so, the rise and fall of all the main players and so on. Now, the thing that bugged me about her reporting was at the very start of the book she makes a bold statement saying that basically web pages were too hard for people to put up, personalised web pages, and nobody did that until blogging came along. Now that is absolutely incorrect. I was there at the start of the web, and I can basically assure you that thousands of people put up personalised web pages. Their entire services dedicated to it, like GeoCities and what have you. And as the 90s went on, more and more simplified web building applications, programs were produced for various computer systems, and it became quite easy to put a web page up. I was doing it coding by hand at start, and then I used various tools, and as long as you had somewhere that could host it, it was quite simple. I guess how simple it is probably depends on how enthusiastic you were towards it and your ideas on your abilities with technology, but yeah, it's not true that for blogging that web pages were too hard for anyone to do. Having said that, everything after that I broadly agree with. Blogging did open up a certain angle for people, and that's really where her story starts, the rise of bloggers, and the so-called mummy bloggers, these women who produce blogs about parenthood and parenting tips and what have you, and they were really the grand pioneers of all this influencer culture and parts of social media. They kind of started the ball rolling. When they became popular and became celebrities, they looked into being paid for their efforts, and they kind of pioneered the advertising and all that type of thing. And as they become more well known, they face a massive backlash in online and in the media. No one wanted to thank them or give them credit for what followed. Many of them actually left the blogging world and had to take up other careers. Some of them burnt out completely. And basically this starts the like a cycle that Lorenz follows in this book. Companies and services and trends rise, people become celebrities and famous and well known, then they try and make money off it, and then like parasitical management companies come along and say that they can help them do it, and then they basically cause the fall of the service or trend or company, and it all starts all over again. And that's really the main drive of this book. It kind of chronicles that cycle from the dates that I mentioned up until the present day. That probably sounds pretty dry and boring. A lot of the companies actually, strangely, as I was quite extremely online myself in those days, I find it very strange that some of the companies in this book I had heard nothing of, and they were apparently massive companies with thousands and millions of users. It just seems that I was confined to one little siloed area of the internet that was my interest, and meanwhile there was other people doing different things all over the place, and that's kind of a weird thing when you think that we're all supposed to be joined together and conscious of everyone and the great ideals of the internet in the 90s or whatever. And really, even back then, we were in our own separate lanes and following our own separate interests. And we see today how that has developed. Companies like something like YouNow or something I had never heard of, and apparently had millions of users, and it was kind of like the prototypical social media, video, whatever type company. Yeah, it's very strange that I hadn't heard of it. Anyway, along with the chronicling of these rise and falls of companies, Lorenz makes sure to bring in a heavy human element to the story. She has quite a lot of quite detailed biographical sketches of the people involved, mainly the pioneers, what we'd call creators, or I kind of hate these terms, creators and influencers, all that type of thing. The people who use the tools that these companies produce to gain audiences, become popular, and in many cases became kind of wealthy or well known, and yeah, celebrities is a word you can use for some of them. Some of them are a little more low-key than that. And so we find out about the teenage kids who started out in their bedrooms and became global stars, and soon had all the the capitalist forces flocking to them, trying to make money out of them, all that type of thing. And this, she goes through lots of people, and some of the stories don't have happy endings. Some of these people burn out. Some of these people, in a few cases, even take their own lives as a result of what happened to them online. It's a kind of sobering counterpoint to the financial and technological rise and fall story that's the rest of the book. It was quite enjoyable, and one of the major driving forces of this part of the book is really how many of these people, these pioneers, who invented like new trends and forms of editing, and the things like the vlogging, you know, where people film their day-to-day life, and that was somebody at one point invented all of that, and that fed into the culture we see today. And these people, many of them were women, many of them were girls, many of them were minority groups, and all of them pretty much have been wiped away by the rewriting of history. A lot of them are forgotten. They were never credited for their part in this, and Lorenz is making a point about that in this book. The internet of that era and today remains like a boys' club in many ways. It's a little less so now, but you know, the people that had control of who gets credit and who was recognised seem to want it to be a certain way, and she tries to fight for the justice for these lesser known people in this book, which was a good sign. My eyes were open to many things, that many of the things we take for granted today, someone invented, someone never got credit for, and yeah, so that's as far as I go. And overall, I feel that the picture given here of this endless cycle of rising falls and people becoming famous and then falling out of favour and whatever, adds to this giant picture of the internet, the internet, social media and influencer and whatever culture that we have today. Is this kind of, I think the term really is palimpsest, a kind of a area which is being built on and drawn on and used and then wiped again, and then some part of the earlier thing remains and adds to the next generation, and it's been built up layer by layer, and all the little aspects of what we've pioneered and used and became successful have been kept while other things have fallen and collapsed, and we've built this teetering tower of the internet and its online culture today, and it's many depths. I was surprised how many cycles this has gone through, how many companies, how many trends, how many people's lives have built up into this. It's easy for each generation to see their favourite app or service or whatever and think, oh yes, this is the big one, but so much has gone before, and I guess as a crusty middle-aged man, it's interesting to see things that were part of your life. You were involved in some of this stuff, and it was all very hip and happening and bleeding edge at the time, but now it's like a laundry list in a history book, which is all dates and names and disasters and successes, and it's a little weird to feel like that at this point. The stuff that seems so real and so now isn't just history now, but the thing is that it's all been built upon. What we have now is a result of other people's efforts, even if people don't want to give them credit. Anyway, I'm starting to rant. Now, this book really is a good, concise history of things like that. Like I said, some of her assertions are probably a little general, a little bold. I think she is probably in her 30s maybe, and so she was very young at the start of some of the stuff, so I'll forgive her for not being around in the early days of the web or what have you, and making generalizations about it. But yeah, so it's an enjoyable book. She's very engaging, like I said, as well as the chronicling of the rises and falls. Lorenz does cover the human side of things, and there's all these trends that keep repeating themselves, like there's the parasitical management companies which always seem to latch onto a new trend, and celebrities, and the celebrities themselves seem to always overstretch their welcome or something. They think they're more important than the company that hosts them, and And they do ridiculous things like buying real estate together and all living together to form some type of commune. And this thing is repeated over and over again. And the ludicrous prank culture which seems to drive a lot of these services. It's young men being young men without much self-reflection, really. And just every generation seems to repeat this. Anyway, if you want to read about all that, this is a good place to start at least. Like I said, it's a concise history of all these things in one place, and Lorenz is well referenced. But I was looking at this book and it was like 384 pages, and I thought, wow, this is quite long, and I was up to like page 290, and I thought, oh, how can this get going along any further? We got to the present day, companies like TikTok and whatever had come up. And then there's like 90 pages of references, hyperlinks in the ebook anyway, so she knows what she's talking about. You can back up her facts. And yeah, so that is Extremely Online by Taylor Lorenz. First book I'm reviewing for 2024. I'm sure you can get it in physical form or online as an ebook. So that is pretty much it for today. It is January the 21st, 2024. I'm trying to do this video early in the morning before it gets too hot, because the last 3 or 4 days it's got over 30 degrees Celsius here. We're in the peak of summer, really. So 30 degrees Celsius is in the 90s Fahrenheit, I believe. Yeah, so I wanted to get this video done before I became a red, sweaty beetroot in front of you, and I think I've done that now. So I'll be back next with probably the review of the Hyperion Omnibus, unless I find something else in between starting that one again. So I hope you had a great day. Hope you enjoyed this video. It's gone on a little bit longer than I expected, but we get there in the end. Okay, see you later.